What up, YouTube? It's Daymatic1, and this is the actual second part to my project I was letting you guys know about of the Svord Peasant knife that I purchased. And like I said, this is kind of the idea I kind of got from Gavco's channel. I don't know if he had a specific video on it or if he did. I didn't go back and check, but I know he had mentioned it in passing in one of his videos about buying a Svord Peasant knife and doing a mod because it's a very simple design and a pretty fun project, and indeed it was pretty cool. And so basically these are the old factory scales here, which are completely plastic, very cheap, which, you know, the knife's 15 bucks, so you know that's what you get for 15 bucks. Like I said in the previous video, all that was there were your two, you know, you got two female and male bolts that look like so right here. Those are for the pivot and for the back spacer, and there is a brass pin that goes there that serves as a blade stop, and that's pretty much it. This back spacer, basically how it worked was that your pivot's tightened up, and then this back spacer pinches the back scale so it's at an angle, and it kind of secures the knife in the closed position. This actually, the knife blade is pinned in between these two and it's held in position. A couple issues with this when I first got it was that the pin that they have in there that serves as a blade stop was positioned a little on the high side, so what ended up happening is the blade was always resting on this black back screw, which in the long run what will end up doing is dulling a certain section of your blade, and that's what actually stopped it, as opposed to the actual pin that was designed to do that to begin with. So anyway, what I went ahead and did is I got a couple pieces of wood scales. I don't know if you can see this here. It's they were black ink indigo blue, and these are purchased from Jant's Supply or knifemaking.com. 3/8 by 1.5, and it was a 10-inch piece that was cut. And I got this from Mauricio Garcia. He gave it to me a long time ago, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to utilize it. Pretty cool stuff. What I went ahead and did is I went ahead and marked out everything here, pretty much the same way it was. Used the old scales, kind of a template, some blue tape and whatnot. Marked out some certain points there. Also made sure that when I marked where the stop pin is for these, that I went ahead and corrected the issue, so the blade wasn't stopping on this back spacer or fastener there. So now it stops with the actual pin, which you can see right there. This is what she looks like now. He opens the position. I added two washers to the left and to the right of the blade. It didn't have washers to begin with, so now the action is nice and smooth. It's not rubbing. It's not going to be rubbing on these scales. Also, I noticed that by putting it back together like it was, that I didn't like the fact that these scales cinched itself together in the back, and that's what also caused this blade to be secure. So I eliminated all that together, added this little back spacer here, as you can see, and basically it makes the back nice and rigid and keeps it all uniform, even spacing all the way across. So pretty happy with this project. Turned out good. First time attempting a Anzo type-ish pattern on this wood. I actually used a drum in my drill press and kind of did it by hand, and as you can see it came out pretty darn even. It's a larger drum. I think I used I think it was a 3/4 inch drum to do this. I could have used a narrower drum and maybe made a more defined Anzo pattern or a smaller Anzo pattern, but like I said, this is just a small project. I've never really sanded down a scale before or tried to do any kind of a pattern besides something I did milled by hand that was just messing around on some micarta, which is a pain in the butt, but nothing specifically for a project. This is my first time doing it, and I'm pretty happy with it. It turned out great. The edge on this knife was really toothy. As far as being sharp, it was so-so. It was really toothy and would rip as opposed to tear. I mean, it would cut through stuff no problem, but it would rip as opposed to slice through stuff. I mean, you could cut the rope and all that other stuff, but definitely the edge needed to be refined. I went ahead and run it through my stropping belt on my 1x30, and she's pretty sharp now, as you can see. Pretty sharp. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty happy with it. So, anyway, guys, that's pretty much just an update, part 2 of it. I was going to do a step-by-step on how I did it, but I just got crazy into it and didn't even think about it and was really amped up to do it today. So, as far as anything else I'm going to be doing to this, I don't know. The scales they're indigo blue layered, but I think when they're pressed together, the ink or whatever they used to dye the wood bled into the other layers, and this is what I was left with. I don't know if maybe some sanding in there would help to kind of bring out a little bit of the different or define the different layers in there. To me, I really don't care. I think it's pretty cool the way it is there. She is a considerable amount thicker than the older scales, as you can see. Millimeter or two difference. So 3/16 thicker altogether, but like I said, with these washers in there, it's pretty smooth. I like it. I took, I got the scales for free from fellow YouTuber Mauricio Garcia, so that didn't cost me any. This little backspacer, what I used the backspacer was off a donor knife that was junk, an old China knife. So I have a bunch of pieces there. The washers came from a donor knife, China knife. That I have like a few that are just sitting around. Instead of throwing them away, I just go ahead and piece them out, cut everything out, or take them apart and utilize all the pieces and screws and just leave them for backup stuff. So yeah, so $15. I would say probably about maybe to do the scales didn't take long at all. I'd say probably about if I were to, because I had cut the scales one night and came back and did the other this another night. I'd say probably 2 hours total. Not a very time-consuming project, and very simple or whatever. So this is cool because now I think I'm gonna go ahead and start playing around, making some G10 scales for some of my other knives, and play around with that and actually get into some G10 stuff. So anyway, guys, like I said, just part 2 of this video there to show you guys what I did, how it turned out. Pretty happy with this project, and if you guys want to get into maybe starting to do custom scales and stuff, that this little Svord Peasant knife is an awesome little project to start off with. I mean, it's $15, so if you screw up, they make a smaller one that's actually $8, which is a smaller version of that, and that's even better, cheaper. So, I'd say probably about $30, maybe less than that for, the knife and getting some G10 scales, and then maybe a donor knife to add some washers there and stuff to make it better. I definitely highly recommend adding a backspacer here. To keep these scales evenly spaced out, because the original ones don't have it. Unless you get there's an aluminum version, or it comes with aluminum scales on this. I got the plastic scale version, so maybe that may be a different situation. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Just want to let you guys see how this turned out, and if you got any comments, questions, or anything, post them below and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I appreciate the new subs, all the support, all that other good stuff. Peace.